Hello and welcome to your very first physics tutorial. Um, this tutorial series will aim at helping understand how to perform physics calculations, also as to why these calculations work and what actually happens behind these calculations, and mostly things that should help you get through your classes, your physics classes, whether they be standard physics, advanced physics. I'm currently taking IB physics, so the things that I learn in that class, I will go make sure that the things I'm going to teach you are correct, and then I'm going to go ahead and teach you. So, as with when you begin any tutorial series, you kind of have to understand what you're about to learn, what you're expected to understand by the end of the course, simple things like that. So for now, I'm just going to go with the first tutorial as I explained to you what physics is, and I'm just going to write on Notepad, and then I'm going to put this Notepad online so that you can all go ahead and read it. I'm going to be using Notepad to tell you all the key concepts and things so that you can save it to your hard drive and you could work with it then. So let's begin, and basically the real question is, what is physics? And in a nutshell, physics is the science behind transfer of energy between different systems. And you could even go even narrower than that. So like, let's say energy is a broad term. Um, the definition of energy is basically the amount of heat and work that an object has, no wait, that a system has stored in it and can utilize on other systems. So let me just fix this because my screen has a certain capacity. Like that, energy, the amount of heat and work that a system has stored in it and can utilize on other systems. So now you have basic understanding of energy. Now you're probably wondering, okay, so then what exactly defines a system? And that's actually pretty broad. Your system can be whatever you're studying, it can be whatever the object in question is. So let's say a system, an object or group of objects in advanced cases that will have work will have work input and output and heat input and output. So basically now you're looking at this, you're like, okay, I can understand this now. Physics is the science behind transfer of heat and work between different objects or groups of objects. So if you want to write that out in plain English so everyone can understand, physics is the study of, or physics is a science behind the transfer of work and heat on different objects or groups of objects. Now you might be thinking, okay, so once you understand physics, then what's the practicality of it all? What could you possibly want to know physics for. Already it sounds pretty hard, and this is probably easily one of the hardest science classes that exists in colleges and high schools. The number one thing that you can use physics for is almost everything. You see, once you begin to understand physics, you can go ahead and use that knowledge to figure out why chemistry works the way it does. You can also understand why, you can also understand biology interactions. I mean, it may not be so easy, but with physics you can understand that. Probably one of the biggest things is you can figure out astronomy and how large masses interact with each other. And I mean, I'm talking about like comets. So, comets, planets, stars, etc. Understand why the planets revolve around the sun. This is described by physics. Physics will help you understand that. In fact, actually, that's one of the main things that we're going to be studying is gravitational fields and things like that. Although that won't be for later on. So you're probably thinking about this. You're probably thinking, okay, physics. It looks like it really pays off. Once you understand physics, you can understand almost everything that occurs. So what else is there to know about physics? Well, as I mentioned earlier, physics is extremely hard. It's very challenging. Oftentimes it is not taught correctly. Oftentimes it is not taught completely. It is a really hard subject just because of how much information there is about physics, about forces, friction. Everything about that is explained in physics. In fact, I could even go ahead and forces, friction, you see. Really, physics does describe everything. It explains why you fall when you jump. It explains why you go back down to the earth. It explains why you can't push a wood block across carpet as easily as you could against other wood blocks. It explains why water condenses into ice. Explains why water evaporates into steam. Explains why steam eventually builds up back to water and falls down. There's so much things that you learn about physics that you just don't get with chemistry and biology. And once you understand these things about physics, chemistry and biology can become better explained. If that makes sense. Now that you have a very basic understanding of what physics does, or physics is, we're going to go ahead and describe what you're probably going to want to know before you go into this class. Definitely want to go into definitely going to want to go into this class with at least Algebra 1 and trig/geometry. That's probably about the only prerequisite that I can think of right now, because physics is mostly math-based, and almost all the concepts you learn in physics, or all the concepts that you use in physics, you'll learn in physics. You know, like with chemicals and biology, you learn like concepts in like kindergarten, ecosystems. Physics, all the concepts you're going to be using, you're going to learn this year, because physics is extremely hard and it kind of rests in its own area as far as science is concerned. You don't really study it until you actually take a physics class. Whereas the other chemistry, biology, astronomy, you kind of get snippets of those throughout your whole educational career, if you want to say. So now you have a basic understanding of what physics is, how to what it's used for, and some prerequisites. Let's just go ahead and just begin working on the very first tutorial and actually start working with some physics problems. Till then, see you later.